has identified the suspect, but he has not released that name at this time. Now, Jackson County Sheriff John Ledbetter says all of this happened shortly after 12 in a nearby parking lot. Ledbetter says the suspect was driving a Chevy Silverado when he hit a fence at the Emergency Management Agency office. He says 2 detectives responded to the crash and saw the suspect had a gun, and that's when the shootout happened. Sheriff Ledbetter says no deputies were injured and no other people in the area were injured as well. And we're going to remain on the scene waiting to gather more details like who the suspect was, and we'll give those details to you once we get them. Live in Pascagoula, Natalie Williamson, Fox 10 News.
All right, taking a live look outside and look at that big cloud over downtown Mobile. A little bit of an overcast shot here in this scene. We've been seeing clear, sunny skies all week long. Now you've got that, but Jason, still no rain all day, even though it's been overcast on and off.
Yeah, not much rain at all out there right now, Shelby. We've had a couple of brief showers in the area, but it's not the kind of rain that's going to do anything to help with the drought. As we look at the satellite radar picture, we do have a buildup of cloud cover along I-10 and along the Seabreeze this afternoon. As we zoom in here, we've had one little isolated shower there along the Mississippi-Alabama line. That has fizzled. We've got another one just north of Van Cleve here, and that's about it. We're just not seeing much in the way of rain, and it looks like a quiet evening. It is a very, very warm one, and we go into tonight. The only thing that's been saving us here lately with the super dry and warmer than average conditions is that the nights are still pleasant, and we're getting another one tonight. We're going down into the middle 60s by the early morning hours. And checking out our futurecast for tomorrow, the one thing we're watching out for first thing in the morning on our Friday would be the development of some patchy fog. It is possible that we could see fog back in the forecast area tomorrow morning. We did have a little bit of that this morning, so we'll be on guard for that. We're going to be tracking that here on Fox 10 News. We'll have an update tomorrow morning with meteorologist Hannah Fink on our morning show tomorrow morning. The beach situation, the tail end of spring break is a lot better than the beginning. We're trending to a low rip current risk on Friday and Saturday. We may see some showers on Sunday and the temperatures will drop, but we are looking at a lower risk of rip currents, which is good. We'll take a closer look at that weekend forecast and see what's happening there with that little low end rain chance on Sunday in your complete outlook coming up.
All right, thank you, Jason. We'll see you in just a few. Right now, Alabama's primary election is 4 weeks away, and 7 candidates are vying for the state's first congressional district seat. Tonight, you can hear from them directly. Alabama political correspondent Jessica Umbro is there now. Jessica, what can people expect from this forum tonight?
Well, they can expect to see all 7 candidates here trying to gain your trust that you give them your vote. So it looks pretty empty here right now, but on this stage behind me, we're going to see all 7 of the candidates sitting here. There's timers that are set so that they can succinctly give you their perspectives on some of the key issues that matter most to you. I want to go through a little bit about what we can expect. We've got 7 candidates here who have qualified for the Republican primary. We've got former U.S. Representative Jerry Carl. He'll be here. He lost to Barry Moore in a primary after this district was changed, had its borders changed. We've got James Jimmy Dees. He's a current special investigative unit detective. We've got Rhett Marcus, who has served 2 terms in the state legislature. We've got Joshua McKee, a U.S. Army Green Beret. We've got John Mills, who is a small business owner and community activist with aviation and naval experience. We've got James Richardson, a military veteran, and then Austin Sidwell, an Air Force veteran. So all of these candidates have qualified with the Republican Party ticket. So people who go in and select a Republican Party ballot in a few weeks will see all 7 of those names on their ballot to pick from for this one seat. We do have a Democrat who is also running, Clyde Jones. However, he's the only one in that party's race, so there is not going to be a debate for that one. So we've got a lot of choices that you're going to have to make, Alabama voters, because there's a lot of decisions that you're going to have to decide what issues matter most to you, and we're really going to try and see that through what the candidates say here. We've got a list of questions that range in topics here, trying to help make that decision more clear for you, but we'll see this auditorium fill up slowly but surely as we get closer to that 6:30 start time. But for now, live in Andalusia, Jessica Umbro, Fox 10 News.
Today, the U.S. military says it's halted all economic trade going in and out of Iran just days after starting a naval blockade. Pentagon leaders now turning up the pressure even during the ceasefire, warning Iran to make a deal as soon as possible. Fox 10's Washington correspondent Stephen Goen has the details.
That U.S. naval blockade started just 3 days ago. Now military leaders say they've cut off 90% of Iran's tradability. The question now, will that be enough to force Iran to negotiate? Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth with this stark warning for Iran's leaders, urging them to work with the U.S. on a diplomatic end to the war while they still have a chance.
I pray you choose a deal which is within your grasp for the betterment of your people and for the betterment of the world.
Today, military officials also providing the most detail yet about the naval blockade enacted by President Trump in mid-April.
This blockade applies to all ships, regardless of nationality, heading into or from Iranian ports. The U.S. action is a blockade of Iran's ports and coastline, not a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz.
U.S. forces broadcasting this message to any vessels attempting to evade.
Turn around and prepare to be boarded. If you do not comply with this blockade, we will use force.
Chairman of the Joint Chiefs General Dan Kane saying that U.S. naval forces have now turned around 13 ships without using any force.
12 of which stayed inside the blockade line, one of which not depicted off to the eastern side, turned around before even attempting it.
This Pentagon update coming amid reports the U.S. is prepared to send as many as 10,000 additional troops to the region, extra pressure to try to bring about an end to this war. In Washington, I'm Stephen Goen.
Oil prices are on the rise, but still holding below the $100 mark. Brent crude traded around $96 a barrel today, with U.S. crude near $93. Investors are growing more optimistic as signs point to progress in U.S. talks with Iran. The White House says another round of negotiations could happen soon, which may ease fear of a wider conflict. That optimism is helping keep a lid on oil prices. However, Iran is threatening to shut down Red Sea shipping if the U.S. keeps blocking its ports, a move that could drive oil higher.
All right, let's look at the traffic situation right now on I-10, and you can see our Eastern Shore Toyota Camry looks pretty good. You can see the traffic is flowing along well. Let's check our traffic tracker, and so here's what we have going on here. You can see a little bit of a slowdown going along I-10 eastbound, but it's not a major delay yet. It is early in the afternoon. It is a Thursday as well, so we could see an uptick in travel here. A lot of folks headed perhaps to the beach for the weekend. A little slow on I-10 in Baldwin County. Pensacola looks pretty good. A little slow down westbound, and then you're on your way between 110 and Highway 29. We'll continue to monitor here on Fox 10 News.
Thank you, Jason. Still ahead here on Fox 10 News at 4. A downtown building in Citronelle was nearly torn down. Now it's becoming a new public plaza with big hopes for the city's future. How residents say the ghosts of the past are helping bring Main Street back to life. Also, a voice from the sky and a mystery from above. How Library of Congress experts brought a 94-year-old Amelia Earhart recording back to life. More in this story in today's Take a Look at This. But first, taking a look outside, a little bit of a clearer sky over there in Orange Beach. Many people are on spring break this week. Stay safe and soak up some sun. Today at a big piece of Citronelle's downtown comeback, all while celebrating residents who remember what it used to look like. Let's go to Fox 10's Stephen Moody.
Welcome to the new Bartram Plaza, dedicated to naturalist William Bartram's visit to Citronelle back in 1775. It's not done yet, but a formerly blighted building on North Main where the roof had caved in and demolition seemed likely is now in the process of being turned into a beautiful new public plaza, all part of a larger plan to revitalize downtown Citronelle.
It makes me very, very happy to see all these people here having a good time and enjoying community. Many of us for decades have ridden by here and looked at this and sometimes had to look the other way, but now we're well on our way to having something that we can be proud of here. And having these folks here just really validates the mission of our organization.
Every month, these Citronelle natives gather in a location to discuss these changes, and this month's location is here. And they're so glad to see it coming back to life.
I got cold chills when I walked up because the ghosts of the past are here. and the people of the future are here. So it's just incredible to be a part of this.
I couldn't be happier, okay? And I'm just glad I told them we could make it happen, even if I had to sell donuts on the corners of the Highway 45 up there. That's just how, we want this to change and be something we can be proud of. And actually, I'm proud of it now.
And for the future of the city, these residents hope they're able to enjoy it just like they still do.
Well, I hope that people know that we have beautiful places and beautiful spaces in Citronelle, particularly the young people know that they can stay here and they can live and raise their families here and make a living here. And there's a lot of prosperity and a lot of opportunity here for the younger generation, particularly like you said.
Stephen Moody, Fox 10 News.
All right, let's take a look out there right now and see what's happening here with a live picture. And we really have a wonderful day as far as the way it looks out there, but it is a little bit toasty with what's happening with our weather pattern. And we've had this unusually warm pattern across the Gulf Coast. Let's track at what's happening on our Fox 10 Gulf Stream. This is a free streaming app that's available for your smart TV. You can download it if you don't have it in your list of options here. And this is a Roku TV that I'm operating right now, but you can do it on a Apple TV or Amazon Fire Stick too. And when you click on that, you can come down here where it says your forecast, and you can check out your forecast with meteorologist Nicholas Herboso. We also have a segment called Next Weather, and we have an update on the fire danger that's going on with meteorologist Matt Barentine. We have some bone dry conditions. Also, meteorologist Nicholas Herboso is working on an update on the April 15th tornado outbreak that happened years ago as well. That will be dropping soon. Here's what we have going on right now. 80 degrees in Mobile, winds out of the south at 13 miles an hour. And that is a warm looking day, kind of more like an early May day, but we've been in that pattern for a while with above average temperatures. And you probably have seen some of these darker clouds around the area today as you've been out and about, but very few of those have turned into rain showers. If we look at it, this is mostly clutter right here. We had one shower near Big Point that fizzled out. We've had another one near Van Cleve, which is fizzling out. The atmosphere is really just too stable for any significant shower activity. The Futurecast is also picking up on maybe a brief shower, up at a rain chance at about 5% today. It will go quiet tonight. We will have some patchy fog in the morning on Friday, and then we clear off and turn partly cloudy in the afternoon. Peeking ahead this weekend, it's not out of the question to see another isolated shower on Saturday afternoon. We've got a frontal system moving in, and the graph Futurecast also shows a couple of those light showers possible early, midday Saturday afternoon into the early part of the evening. The main area of rain that may actually bring us something is along a front that will be moving into the area in the early morning hours of Sunday. I don't expect Sunday to be an all-day rain thing, but Sunday morning we could see some passing showers, and the showers are going to be falling apart as they move into the area. We are in a level 3 severe drought in many spots with a level 4 extreme drought up I-65. And so we need the rain in a big way. We're just not going to see much over the next 5 or 6 days. We've got that one little shot on Sunday. 64 degrees to start the morning tomorrow in Mobile, 63 in Pascagoula. Checking out the forecast here as we move forward into the weekend. Our rain chance at 20% on Saturday, just an isolated chance. A pretty decent shot at some widely scattered showers on Sunday. And we should go dry again for the most part next week. We may have some little pesky showers Wednesday or Thursday, and long-range trends indicate that the following weekend we may finally see some relief from the drought. So that's the current setup with your forecast. We'll have more coming up later on.
All right, Jason, thank you. This is kind of cool. Starbucks is testing a new AI-powered feature that suggests drinks based on how you're feeling. The feature is now in beta inside ChatGPT, and it lets users ask for recommendations based on their mood, a craving, or even a photo. It's one of the first examples of a major restaurant chain using AI to influence what customers order. The move reflects a new level of personalization, but also raises questions about how much we'll let AI guide everyday decisions. I see pros and cons of that because sometimes you get decision fatigued and you're like, I don't know. I don't want to make a decision. Just give me something that I'm kind of feeling right now. So I think that could be a cool idea. All right, let's talk about this now. A short audio clip of Amelia Earhart recorded more than 9 decades ago. It was meant to be a novelty tucked into the back of a little book. Thanks to some seriously cool tech, that crackly little keepsake is sounding new again. Patrick Cornell has that story and more in today's Take a Look at This.
A nearly 100-year-old recording of famed aviator Amelia Earhart has been revived.
Something happened which has never happened before in my 12 years of flying.
It's a snippet from a speech she gave in London on May 22, 1932, broadcast to New York, detailing a heart-pounding moment while flying solo across the Atlantic on a 15-hour flight.
That is, the altimeter, the instrument required to register altitude, height above ground, period.
That crackled clip included in 78 RPM record format as a trinket in the back of Earhart's book, The Fun of It, which released 5 years before her infamous disappearance.
The hand swung around the dial in such a manner that I knew it was out of commission for the rest of the night.
94 years later, researchers at the Library of Congress found an original record. Made of cheap plastic and cardboard, the antique needed the touch of specialized equipment dubbed Irene, which uses a focal probe to map the record's grooves, creating a digital format that anyone can now listen to on the library's website. Transitioning from history to mystery, officials in Los Angeles County are asking, what exactly is this foul-smelling chunk of ice that seemingly smashed through the roof of a local home? Pictures provided by the county supervisor show the aftermath of the aerial invader's impact. A resident who was home at the time says he heard the explosion but was not hurt, finding the yellow-tinged dirty ice on the couch. In a letter to the FAA, County Supervisor Janice Hahn says the homeowner believes an airplane was overhead at the time the object crash-landed. She's asking for a thorough investigation. For Take a Look at This grossness, I'm Patrick Cornell.
Today's Idiot Nation on SiriusXM. From early demos and live cuts to the band's biggest hits, when we return, a closer look at the new punk channel spanning generations. See, this is a little tricky. If you're a Rihanna fan, if I read this, it could get you excited, but don't worry. No, Rihanna is making music history. Still not making music. I need another album. What you doing, Riri? The Recording Industry Association of America says she just became the first woman to surpass 200 million singles certifications. Okay, that's pretty cool. She has out singles from 2022 and last year, but hasn't released a full album in about a decade. That's what I'm talking about when I'm saying she's not releasing music. She's behind only Drake and Morgan Wallen for singles, though. Beyonce is the second highest woman in that category. Rhea is, RIAA. I thought they were trying to give her a nickname there. RIAA is the group that gives out gold, platinum, and diamond album designations. Its website says it uses data from sales, streaming, and more. Taylor Swift is the top female artist in the album category, ranking behind artists like the Beatles and Elvis. Okay, I'm ready for that album, Riri. You got this, girl. She's being a mom. Okay, I'm not hating. She's doing her thing. Green Day is launching their own punk universe. The Grammy-winning band will launch Green Day's Idiot Nation on SiriusXM April 20th. The exclusive channel, curated by Billy Joe Armstrong, Mike Dirnt, and Trey Cool, will feature everything from early demos and live recordings to their biggest hits, along with punk tracks spanning generations. The band will also share stories from the road and studio, with Trey Cool hosting a monthly show spotlighting artists that they've toured with. Also in your entertainment news today, a blockbuster court decision involving how most people buy concert tickets and a pair of films about iconic athletes. Let's go to David Daniel with your Hollywood Minute.
A jury has found Live Nation and Ticketmaster operate as an illegal monopoly. The Justice Department and 39 state attorneys general had sued Live Nation, claiming it and its subsidiary Ticketmaster controlled virtually every aspect of the live music ecosystem. A second trial will determine whether to grant the state's request to break up the company or make other structural changes.
I grew up living below the poverty line. I just felt so inferior to everyone. Those things drove him to search for an outlet. Basketball became that outlet.
And it was an eye-opener.
2 new documentaries take unique athletes beyond the headlines. Jerry West, The Logo, includes the final interviews with the late basketball star, who was inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame as an Olympic player, a pro player, and a general manager, and is widely believed to be the model for the NBA logo. The film is now streaming on Prime Video.
O seu brincar vai nos ajudar a ganhar uma Copa do Mundo. Era o momento dele. Foi algo diferente, algo que fez encantar o mundo.
Meanwhile, Ronaldinho, the one and only, profiles one of the greatest soccer players of all time, from his awards and championships at every level to his free-spirited lifestyle to his legal troubles. The documentary is now streaming on Netflix. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Well, next up from us, we're going to take a look at those big breaking stories headlining your news at 5, and then this.
And if they do have some type of asset, then you need to plan what their spending is going to look like.
Tips to prepare financially for caregiving and how to make supporting a loved one work for your family. That's next.
Fox 10 News.
And as mentioned at the top of the hour, it's been a busy breaking news day here at the Fox 10 studio. So our crews are out gathering information for that breaking news and follow-ups, all for Fox 10 News at 5. First, the burn ban continues in Alabama. We're bringing you the latest in a live report, what you can expect as we go into the weekend coming up. And then Pensacola, City Council holding a meeting to discuss the future of the Pensacola Bay Center. We're breaking down what's up with that center. And then with all eyes back on the moon after Artemis II, local students are getting a front row seat to history. Hearing Apollo 13 astronaut Fred Hayes share his story. We'll have these stories and more when Fox 10 News at 5 starts in less than half an hour from right now.
All right, let's look at our Admiral camera right now, and this is our Eastern Shore Toyota view. You can see the traffic starting to back up a little bit trying to get into the Wallace Tunnel, so let's check out the latest here as we take a look at what's happening in our forecast. And we've got some great weather as we go through the next couple of days. Tomorrow in Pensacola, a little patchy fog early. Temperatures in the 60s, up near 80 in the afternoon with plenty of sunshine. And in Mobile tomorrow, we'll start out in the mid 60s with low 80s in the afternoon. And some far inland spots could be in the far upper 80s tomorrow. It's going to be very warm north of I-10 tomorrow. Hardly any rain out there today. We did have a few light showers, mainly over into Jackson County, Mississippi. You can see the buildup of cloud cover this afternoon, but it's not building up enough to provide rain because the atmosphere is so stable. Looking at the next 10 hours in your forecast, temperatures drop off a little here as we get into the evening hours, and by the overnight hours, we'll actually slip back into the 60s tonight. We have a little low-end rain chance this weekend, and you know we need the rain. I mean, we're in a severe drought situation, and it doesn't look like much on Friday. We could see some brief showers on Saturday. This is the front that will be here on Sunday morning, and it actually is going to give us a low-end chance of some widely scattered showers. It's also going to give us some cooler temperatures. You can see the difference between the daytime highs between Saturday and Sunday. We're actually dropping about 10 degrees there. We'll be back into the upper 70s early next week. And so we'll take a closer look at the futurecast there with the potential for rain on Sunday and your 7-day outlook coming up.
All right, Jason, thank you. Alabama's primary election is 4 weeks away. 7 candidates are vying for the state's first congressional district seat, and tonight you're going to hear directly from them. Our Lenise Lagan is going to be one of the moderators asking the questions about what matters to you most. So we're going to be checking in with her a little bit later on, as we will throughout the 5 o'clock as well. For now, a hugely popular gaming platform makes an agreement worth millions of dollars with the U.S. state targeted at protecting youth. Roblox, an interactive gaming platform used every day by Americans, especially minors, has entered into a $12 million settlement with the state of Nevada. According to the settlement, the company will enhance online gaming safety features and assist in funding non-digital youth programs. The agreement will also make sure users attempting to access Roblox verify how old they are. Nevada State Attorney General Aaron Ford says he's pleased with the new arrangement because of Roblox's responsiveness to inquiries about user safety.
As our children connect online, we must be aware that there are those who would seek to harm them, who would prey upon them, and who must be kept as far away from them as possible. That's why my office has taken steps to hold social media companies and their online platforms accountable for their lack of protection in regards to our children.
Ford says no encrypted communications involving minors will be allowed on Roblox because of the potential for child predators to use it to lure potential victims. Ford also says half of all children in the U.S. under 16 use Roblox for gaming activities. According to a recent study by AARP, nearly 63 million Americans are taking care of an aging loved one or family member with a disability or illness. That's a big jump from just 10 years ago. In today's Watching Your Wallet, consumer investigator Rachel DePompa speaks with an expert about how to make caregiving financially work for your family.
This is a tough decision many families are having right now. How do you care for an aging loved one, and how do you prepare financially to have someone dependent on you again? Stoy Hall, the founder and CEO of Black Mammoth, a financial planning and wealth management firm, says the first thing you should consider is getting long-term care insurance. He says that will help you cover costs such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, or in-home care not covered by regular health insurance or Medicare. But he also knows that's not always an option for everyone. And if a parent or grandparent is going to be moving back in with you, he says you have to go over their assets and make a financial plan.
I know it's difficult. Some of them have nothing, right? But some of them do have stuff. And if they do have some type of asset, then you need to plan what their spending is going to look like, whether that is for meds or not meds, if you're going to feed them or not feed them. But you need to set those boundaries around what they can provide and what you're going to provide.
He says people often don't think about the time commitment of having someone move in with them. Can you get your kids to their events while also getting aging loved ones to their doctor's appointments? There's an increase in how much food you will need. There are extra costs, he says, you need to think about and plan for. He says communication is key, so is setting boundaries and creating a financial plan to help you prepare for the cost. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, Alabama's primary election is 4 weeks away, and tonight 7 candidates are vying for the state's first congressional district seat. You're going to hear from them directly. Lenise Lagan is one of the moderators asking the candidates questions. She is there right now. Hi, Lenise. Tell us about tonight.
Hey there, Shelby. Good to be with you guys here. And you're absolutely right. We are gearing up for a very important conversation tonight in about 2 hours. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see the stage. It is set. All that is left is for the candidates to arrive and for people to start filing in. As you mentioned, we have 7 candidates looking for that seat in Washington for Alabama's first congressional district. This forum is a joint effort between Fox News, our sister station, WTVY in Dothan, and WSFA in Montgomery. These are stations serving the communities within District 1. Now, this seat is being held by Congressman Barry Moore. He is stepping aside to run for the Senate. That means this district is going to have a new voice in Congress. And tonight, this is a chance for voters to see the candidates side by side. You can see those chairs are set. All 7 Republicans are slated to be here tonight. We are inside LBW Community College in Andalusia, asking questions that matter most to families, with the topics ranging from costs and expenses, rural health care, infrastructure, and federal spending. Of course, I'm going to be checking in throughout the day as people start to file in here and when the candidates start to arrive. As you mentioned, I'll be one of the moderators for tonight's forum. It starts at 6:30, and no worries if you're not able to be here. Fox 10 News will have it for you live on our streaming platforms. You can look for it on fox10tv.com, of course, the Fox 10 Gulf Stream, and on the Fox 10 News app. I'll be checking in later in the 5 o'clock hour. For now, Shelby, I'll be back later reporting live in Andalusia. Fox 10 News, Lenise Lagan.
All right, Lenise, we will see you in just a little bit. Well, Gatorade is getting a makeover. PepsiCo says it wants the brand to maintain dominance amid increased competition. The revamp is focused on marketing Gatorade to more people than just athletes. One planned change is the removal of synthetic dyes from some flavors. Gatorade also is trying to become more portable and is working on a longer lasting option. Ultra-processed foods may hurt muscle health. A diet of sugary drinks, salty snacks, fast foods is probably wearing down your muscles. Muscles store fat in two ways, either in between healthy muscles known as intermuscular fat or within muscle fibers known as intramuscular fat. Researchers looked at data for more than 600 people who were on average 60 years old. Regardless of their weight, they found those who ate a diet high in ultra-processed foods had more intermuscular fat. Previous studies have found that more muscle fat raises the risk of cardiovascular disease and more intramuscular fat increases the risk of type 2 diabetes. As the weather warms up, you're likely to spend more time outside. But if you plan to ride a bike, experts are urging you and your family to stay safe. It's especially important to shield your head, but they say many bikers don't wear correct protection or put it on properly. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on how to pick your proper helmet.
Every year in the U.S., nearly 1,000 bicyclists die in crashes involving a motor vehicle, and an estimated 120,000 others are taken to the emergency room after being hurt on a bike. Sometimes it's an injury to the head.
Those head injuries come about because they don't have the protection of a helmet. And when I say not the protection, that means they're either not wearing a helmet, they either have a non-compliant helmet or the helmet doesn't fit properly.
Rich O'Brien is executive director of TIC Council Americas, a trade association that tests, inspects, and certifies products like bike helmets for companies. He says the most protective helmets are ones that meet U.S. consumer product safety requirements, so search for a label inside the helmet that says it's been tested and certified. Next, he says to make sure you're not buying a knockoff.
The best way to do that is to make sure that you buy from a reputable dealer. I would suggest going to a bicycle store to buy a helmet.
While O'Brien says buying directly online from a reputable manufacturer will also work, he says going to a store will allow you to try the helmet on, and staff may be able to help you get the right fit. And finally, when you wear a helmet, he says to always make sure the strap is fastened.
If it doesn't fit or it's not compliant, then the chances are that your injury is going to be much worse than it would have otherwise.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
An Omaha man is facing Parkinson's with a paintbrush. Find out how he's fighting back and using art to help others understand the disorder after the break.
Tracker weather.
Warm conditions out there right now in downtown Mobile. This is our Eastern Shore Toyota camera here, our Dolphins cam. Winds out of the south at 13, dew points up in the upper 60s. Kind of feels like a late spring day out there, you know, kind of like what we would normally see in about the middle of May. But we've had this persistent southerly flow for a number of days. We're getting a little cloud buildup today, and the skies may look dark, but that's not going to bring us any significant rain. We're just not seeing it. We've had a couple of little brief showers here north of Van Cleve and near Big Point earlier today. That's all faded out. A lot of clutter out there, but no significant rain. Checking out our futurecast on Saturday, we could see another little situation where we get a few brief little small showers. Probably won't have any major impact on things, but there is the potential for a little shower activity there. And Sunday, we expect a front to move in, and this is just before daybreak on Sunday morning. It shows some light scattered showers in the area. Unfortunately, these are going to basically fall apart as they move in, but Sunday morning, first thing, we may actually see a little bit of rain around here. That may be the first rain we've really seen since Easter Sunday, so it would be welcome if we could get at least something in here. Chances are not super high. We'll have temperatures in the middle 80s on Friday and Saturday, an isolated chance of showers on Saturday. A widely scattered morning shower is possible on Sunday with a high in the mid 70s. It does get a little cooler, especially at night next week, a low of 50 Sunday night. Not a lot of rain next week either. but eventually the pattern will change, and we may finally get some rain in here by the following weekend. Isolated showers Wednesday and Thursday. The rainfall outlook for April 22nd through the 26th here shows wetter than normal conditions setting up for our area. And if we go out 10 days with the long-range outlook, it looks like not this weekend, but the following weekend, we may actually see some scattered showers and thunderstorms getting back into the picture. So it's been a long time coming. We do have some opportunities. We'll be continuing to keep an eye on those rain chances here on Fox 10.
All right, Jason, thank you. Well, this month is Autism Awareness Month, and one type of horse therapy in Texas works directly with children. At New Hope Equine Assisted in Argyle, instructors work one-on-one with kids through therapeutic horseback riding. New Hope's mission is to bring hope, healing, and happiness to everyone it serves. The nonprofit has been up and running since 2012.
It actually helps center and calm them, and it puts them in a situation that oftentimes they become more teachable than they are on the ground or in other environments.
Clayton's non-speaking, and within the last year he started talking, and he does it more when he's on the horse. It's pretty incredible.
I feel like really good. It's like relaxing, and it makes me forget about everything else.
I love that. That is so cool. We actually have some horse therapy services here in our area as well that your kids can get involved in. I know a couple of Baker's friends in the Down syndrome community do it for their therapy, and it is very, very well received. Parents say they've seen their kids gain more confidence and patience through their time riding at New Hope. Horses just know, you know, they pick up on that thing. They help calm us. Very cool. Well, Nebraska has the highest rate of Parkinson's disease in the country. And one Omaha man is facing that diagnosis with a paintbrush, channeling his inner Bob Ross to fight back and help neighbors understand the disease. Here's Max Williams with his story.
Dave Arneson didn't spend enough time painting before Parkinson's. When he was diagnosed, it changed his outlook on life. A decade ago, doctors gave him 10 years to live. After that much time, he still hasn't retired from his job, and he's picked up a hobby or two.
I watch a ton of Bob Ross, and I paint a lot of my paintings look like Bob Ross's, so that is awesome. I enjoy doing them.
An Epic research study from last October says Nebraska has the most cases of Parkinson's disease per 100,000 people in the U.S. Arneson has lived in Omaha for decades.
Looking back at all the symptoms, I just didn't really pay attention.
Arneson tells me he was happy to attend the Parkinson's Foundation event in Elkhorn on Monday because he thinks that education on the disease should be more accessible. He remembers consoling a mutual friend when they were diagnosed.
Yeah, I told her, which strangely enough, I think I'm a better person with Parkinson's.
And his son Nick agreed, telling me he watched his dad change from quiet to outgoing on his mission to spread awareness. But he didn't want to sugarcoat the disease either, mentioning he opted for a brain procedure to cut down on side effects from his medication. One of the speakers from the presentation who works in neuroscience research tells me that Arneson's painting hobby is a great example of mental exercise that has proven to help those with Parkinson's.
Those painting and those motions with the strokes might help improve their handwriting, so then it becomes legible again.
Arneson tells me he always looks forward to the Parkinson Foundation's Moving Day, where neighbors can get active at Warner Park. That's on June 7th this year.
All right, we have some traffic out there on I-10. This is our Eastern Shore Toyota view, and we've got a decent flow of travel, but there is a slowdown at the Wallace Tunnel. We've seen it on our live cameras here. It's not a major delay, but just starting to back up about or just past Virginia Street. It slows down, and then you're on your way on the Bayway. So 10 minutes ahead of 5 o'clock, not bad by Bayway and tunnel standards here in Mobile. A little bit slow between the 181 exit and Loxley on I-10 eastbound in Baldwin County. Pensacola is in real good shape this afternoon. We're not seeing any major problems. So just ahead of the rush hour, things look good. We'll check traffic again on Fox 10 News at 5.
When we come back at 4, a touching story of a second chance for a dog and a man living under an overpass until a group of strangers stepped in, turning rock bottom into a fresh start. We'll have this story coming up. It's a story about second chances. A man and his dog lived on the streets of Arnold, Missouri for years. And then a group of strangers saw them. Steve Harris shows us how a community helped turn rock bottom into a fresh start.
Dan and Bentley were living in a tent under this overpass in Arnold when these ladies met them.
Well, I've been on the streets since I got out of prison in 2013.
Well, they decided to change that.
You don't realize how hard it is for someone to get back on their feet until you're trying to help them do it.
They started a spot fund page and raised enough money to move them into a hotel room. But that was only a temporary fix. See, they had plans for something bigger and better.
As we've gained money, we just started looking for an affordable RV, and we found one.
Using the donations and some money of their own, they bought it and surprised Dan with his new home.
I got him. I got him.
An emotional moment that made Dan speechless.
Forever. Yeah? Yeah.
Overwhelmed by a place he can finally call his own.
It's okay. You deserve it.
Moved by the generosity of strangers.
For the community to do this for him, it's just amazing.
Just happy about it all.
Makes me want to cry.
And when he finally found his words, they were few.
I love it.
Bentley let his tail do the talking.
You think Bentley will like it here? I know he will.
But wait, it gets better. You see, all those years of caring for Bentley.
There was a week that went by I didn't eat, but my dog didn't go hungry.
You're hungry, boy.
Well, that's the experience Dan needed for what comes next.
He has a job waiting for him at a doggy daycare, so he's very excited about that.
They've come a long way since living under the highway.
Oh, yeah, a long way.
And now he considers everyone that helped him family.
We're brothers and sisters now.
And that suits these ladies just fine.
He's going to have us as a staple in his life for quite some time.
Steve Harris, First Alert 4.
Tonight we have team coverage. We'll get to our Shelby Myers in just a moment. But first, let's start with Natalie Williamson, who is live outside the Jackson County Courthouse. And Natalie, you spoke with the sheriff in the last hour.
Shelby?
Yeah, Natalie, I spoke with a woman who was eating lunch just across the street when all of this unfolded.
There were some people that were, I guess, down near the courthouse when it happened and obviously had to come towards our way. And, you know, they were just like, somebody's been shot, somebody's been shot.
Haley Crane and her husband stopped at a restaurant in downtown Pascagoula Thursday to grab some lunch. They did not hear the gunshots, but they did hear the aftermath.
We just heard all of the screaming and sirens afterwards.
Crane says they were eating outside and watched as multiple agencies rushed in. According to investigators, the shooting happened in a parking lot on Magnolia Street near the Jackson County Courthouse and Sheriff's Office. The sheriff says a man driving a truck hit a fence by the Emergency Management Agency office. When two detectives responded, the sheriff says they learned the suspect was armed and a shootout followed. The suspect was killed. No officers were hurt.
20 minutes later, after they had said, people had said, like, everything's seems to be okay, there were more undercover cops. I mean, I'm not trying to sound exaggerated, but like 100. I mean, there were a ton. I mean, Jackson County Sheriff, Jackson County police officers, Oss Point, I mean, people from everywhere down there, and then undercover cops, and they were getting out of their cars and like putting on their tactical gears with like machine guns and all that. And so I was like, I'm not really sure that the threat's over.
Pascagoula police posted to social media that there was not an active shooter or a threat to the public. But with the heavy police presence, they asked people to avoid the area while officers checked nearby buildings to make sure the scene was clear.
It kind of felt off. I was like, should we just get our stuff and go? Like, this feels terrible, but we were blocked. I mean, we couldn't even leave for a little while anyways because they have all that shut down.
Now, Crane did tell me parents of children at a nearby Resurrection Catholic school were distraught, not knowing what was going on. But officials confirmed all students and staff are safe, and the school did have to go on lockdown, but that has since been lifted. As is standard in an officer-involved shooting, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation is now leading this investigation. In the studio, Shelby Myers, Fox 10 News.